Hey everyone, Sean here, and today in this video, in the Hawk Talks, it's been a while since I've actually talked about a video game. But imagine talking about Budokai Tenkaichi in 2023. But that's what we're exactly doing today because it's been announced at the Dragon Ball Fighters World Tour Finals of this year or last year. It said like 20 or 2022, 23. So it's a little weird on the titling, on the logo anyway, but I digress. Tenkaichi was announced during those finals, and people at the the audience, you can kind of hear from one of the videos or whatever, were very much excited, and you can definitely see the rest of the reactions on Twitter and stuff like that. They or a lot of them are very much excited, rightfully so, because it's Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is definitely one of those very popular franchises where you'll find, very few within the gaming community or within the anime community where they absolutely don't know what Dragon Ball is or Dragon Ball Z is, right? And it's just that kind of franchise. It's kind of like Pokemon. Like everyone know what a Pikachu is, right? You know, for the most part, right? And then we got Dragon Ball being that sort of franchise. Everyone, pretty much everyone you could say knows what it is. It's been on Fortnite as of late. The popularity has been popping off more than ever, and this is no exception. So Tenkaichi 4 or whatever it's gonna be called is coming for these generation of consoles or systems, and so rightfully so, they're very excited for it. While I am happy for them to be excited, I just can't really shake off this feeling of being, I guess, somewhat jaded, or I am jaded, I guess, when it comes to these type of games. But hey, I mean, let's just talk about it. So, these Tenkaichi games, right? They've been around for since the PS2 eras, and so Budokai Tenkaichi, funny enough, I think in Japan it's called Sparking, and here it's called Budokai Tenkaichi. So Tenkaichi, funny enough, is the English title. Sparking is the Japanese title. So it's kind of funny that the Japanese decided to use in the English word that it's a reference to the song of Chala He Chala, the Dragon Ball Z opening. And then meanwhile, we got the Budokai Tenkaichi here, the English side of things, using the Japanese words, right? So it's kind of funny how that works. You know what I mean? So that it's a bit of an odd thing in this case here. The Japanese using English and then the English using Japanese. Kind of weird how that works, and it is funny. But anyway, back to here. The Tenkaichi games have always been this arena fighter where you hit buttons, you just mash that one button and stuff happens, on the screen, like all the cool shit that just happens. And it definitely, you can't, while it's not weird to call it a fighting game, by most people, it definitely is not the same pedigree of like Street Fighter and Tekken, where they have balanced fighting characters, and it's very much competitive, right? And it's held to a high degree, when it comes to like streaming and all the esportsy stuff that comes along with it. It's on platforms and tournaments such as Evo, and they got Capcom with the Capcom Cups and stuff like that with Street Fighter, and so on and so forth. Tekken got the World Tour. Dragon Ball Fighters, guess what? That had a World Tour. Guilty Gear, that also has some sort of World Tour as well. So, these fighting games, while those are higher degree, higher pedigree, highly competitive, arena fighters aren't meant to be like that. They're not there to be competitive. They can be. You could make it competitive, but they're not. That's not what it's all about. It's all about just doing, hitting the simple inputs, and stuff happens. And usually that's the visually cool stuff, right? The cinematic stuff. You don't have to spend that many hours to really feel good about playing this fighting game like Street Fighter, for example. You had to put a lot of hours, learn your fundamentals, and the payoff comes from the grinding that you do, playing online, playing against players and such like that. But that's why you got these arena fighters, to make people feel like they're doing really cool stuff and they feel good about it in that sense. You just hit the you just mash buttons and then the stuff happens. That's just how it works, right? And not just Tenkaichi, of course, just other arena fighters like you got Pokken, you had Naruto Ninja Storms games, and there's a good amount of anime themed arena fighters out there that have come to existence over the years, especially with J Stars, and then you have the infamous Jump Force, and I believe it's done. This game is being done by the same devs for Jump Force, so that seems to be a little shaky there. But just judging from the looks of Tenkaichi from that trailer or that little teaser trailer, looks pretty good. It obviously does that the cell shading style. The effects are pretty cool so far. Just with Goku turning into Blue Goku, right? The blue Super Saiyan God or whatever. I haven't kept up with Super, so it's a little hard for me to remember all the names. But the blue Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan God Blue. I mean, yeah, that's already kind of a mouthful there. But anyways, that Super Saiyan form looks pretty cool with the effects and everything. With that said, I just can't help but shake off this feeling that I have for these like anime games over the years, and it pretty much winds down to the fact that these anime games tend to be more or less cash grabs. I mean, you could argue, I guess, that a lot of these games nowadays are cash grabs out there. But at least when it comes to certain games, like the AAA games, I mean, yeah, you could argue that too, but they're AAA games. They usually come with like, in pretty immense depth when it comes to gameplay and stuff like that. You have a lot of hours of fun there in that sense. But when it comes to these Dragon Ball games or just anime games in general, whether they're RPGs or whatever the hell the genres are dealing with, that you can't deny the fact that the shallowness is apparent. Definitely you can see that with One Piece Odyssey. That's a recent game that I bought, because I love One Piece. But I was well aware that it was gonna be like it's gonna have that like sort of cash grabby sort of nature to it, and it definitely is so with the story quests. Like my goodness, it's so shallow. It definitely you can't definitely deny that with the One Piece Odyssey at least. You know, Again happened with World Seeker. It's just like it lacked the polish. The depth wasn't all that much there, so it just felt like it's just another case of a cash grab, right? When it comes to anime games, you could definitely say the same when it comes to the SAO games, um, as well. A lot of these popular animes, they just want to get that name out there in the form of a video game, so that they just sell more copies, they just make more money just off of that name. And that's just kind of how it's been with a lot of these anime games. Are there a few exceptions, of course, but that definitely is a diamond in the rough because there's a lot of these anime games and a lot of them are cash grabs, man. I just can't help but have this feeling. I just feel jaded in that sense when it comes to that. But back to here, I mean, when it comes to Tenkaichi, I mean, it's not for me. I'm not gonna judge on anyone who wants to, just buy these games and such like that. But just be aware of it, right? And same with Tenkaichi, just know what you're getting yourself into, and I think you'll definitely have a much better mindset when it comes to diving into these games. They're all about just sort of being that fighting game where you could just go in and do stuff already. You know what I mean? But don't expect these characters to be balanced. They're gonna be broken as all hell, of course. I remember when it comes to playing on the Wii, right? I did the motions and everything, right, on the Wii, which is pretty cool because Tenkaichi was one of my first games I literally bought on that same day when I bought the Wii, along with like Red Steel and stuff like that. But Tenkaichi, well, I think it was like Tenkaichi 2 or something like that. I forget. This particular one, had like Berter, of the Ginyu Force, right? You can like have loadouts with the capsules, and if you put certain capsules onto certain fighters, right? They're definitely gonna benefit from that. So Berter, which is funny, right? He's a relatively low level fighter within this big ass roster, you know. he can be broken because you know he got multiple hitting punches. He's so fast in that sense. Usually he'll be weak, but when you put on those capsules, he is definitely broken, right? He's just like anyone else, up on the higher end of the food chain, right? But you know, hey, could you do the same thing for Gogeta? Of course you can, but it's just so funny that you can make Birder, for example, that kind of broken fighter. Maybe even more broken than Gogeta, for example, right? The Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who also does multiple hitting attacks, who kind of looks funny doing so. Like he kind of just looks like this when he's attacking on that iteration of Tenkaichi. But anyway, yeah, so I wonder if they'll bring that back. I wonder if they'll bring the capsules back, or the loadouts, whatever, the capsule loadouts back into this Tenkaichi game. And it's just I just find it so funny always that these fighters are just these type of fighting games are just so broken, right? I mean, on Jump Force, right? I think like Sasuke was like really broken, just because of the stun lock kind of stuff you can do with Chidori and whatever the hell, so on and so forth. From what I've heard, anyway, I'm not sure if that's correct, but that's just what it is. Now, unfortunately, I think the Jump Force servers have shut down since because of how people were, how the reception was, right? So hopefully the same doesn't really happen to Tenkaichi. I'm pretty sure hopefully Tenkaichi will be the better arena fighter. But as a whole, kind of like I said, these anime games tend to be cash grabby, and this is no exception, I guess, and you just gotta expect the sort of the shallowness, when it comes to these games. But it's not to say that you can't have fun with it. You can absolutely have the funnest of times in those moments. So I'd say, hey, make the most out of it, right? When you make that purchase, make the most out of it. Do your stuff. Look at all the attacks and on your screen. And I'm pretty sure those cel shaded graphics are gonna look real good on those new TVs. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, just go have fun at it, right? When it comes to me, again, I just really can't shake off of that jaded feeling, and unfortunately, that's just a feeling that came with as I got older and played a good number of these games, right? And just kind of come to realize of what they really are. But depending on your perspective, things could be looking a little different, right? For each individual. So that's really all I got to say. The main points anyway. So that's pretty much it for this Hawke Talks episode featuring Budokai Tenkaichi 4, as we're gonna call it for right now. Definitely we gotta wait till the trailers come out, and then I'm probably gonna place my full judgment there. But as a general sort of perspective on anime games, I still feel quite jaded and stuff like that. And looking at the glass half empty kind of thing, that sort of thing, that sort of perspective. But hey, I mean, it could be really exciting. You just never know, right? Once the full gameplay trailer comes out for Tenkaichi 4, and I could be wrong, but this is kind of what I expected nowadays when it comes to anime games in general. So anyways, before I go into a circle, comment down below what you guys think of Tenkaichi 4. Are you super excited about it? How do you feel about anime games in general? That sort of stuff. Anything related in this video, down below, and I love to read them. I'm always open for a friendly discussion for these types of topics. So also don't forget the thumbs up, the subscribe button, and everything. Really appreciate it, guys, because that really helps out the channel here, and it definitely helps me keep going. Really always helps the motivation stuff when it comes to making videos. So I really do appreciate it. So that's it for this video, the Hawke Talks on Tenkaichi 4, and my feelings about this and around it. So thank you very much. I hope to see you all in the next video. Ciao now.